Okay, so for the final question,
Go ahead.
how does I guess being a new creator and also being a part of an education system, like how does that work today? Because you have a lot of this new generation where everybody wants to be a creator, everybody wants to be like, everybody wants a following.
Say no more, bro. Say no more. I'm like very, very passionate. I've had this conversation with like not just you.
Yeah.
I've had it with Alex. I've had it with John. I think I've even had it with my father. This is such a big problem.
So you
It's
call it
a
a problem.
major problem.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. And like, just cut me off if I'm like kind of going off on a tangent. But the problem is that, you know, I actually did another podcast and we talked about this. This was like the major.
Nobody wants to contribute to society.
It's not that, bro. The problem is that people aren't actually as talented as they think they are. And it's like all of these celebrities are telling people, it's like, you know, these are the role models for these creators. It's the Justin Biebers, it's the Kanye West.
Casey Neistat.
And what do they promote all day, every day? Be yourself. Do what you want to do. No one can tell you anything. You don't have to do nothing. You can sit at your house and eat cereal. You know what I mean? Those are like, you know, these are the people that they look up to, and they're telling them, like, yo, ruin your life and become a YouTuber. It's a big deal because what happens is you have...
Or like a Twitch streamer or something.
It is ridiculous. I think one of the first times I ever seen somebody actually make sense was the Ninja Gamer. He was
What
like...
did he say?
He said, I would not quit my job or stop going to school to become a full-time streamer. I vote against that. And I was like, thank you. Like,
yeah.
People are not going to listen to him, of course, but at least there's somebody kind of in that position telling people like, yo, don't do this. The thing is like, what I feel like what celebrities and what these influencers are doing without knowing is that they're actually literally ruining people's lives. People are, you know, if you are lucky enough to get into college on a scholarship and you are lucky enough or you are, you know, talented enough or whatever the case may be to be doing well in it, I think that you should finish it. I think that it will be smart, it will be wise for you to finish it.
So do you think, so when you have like this mid-tier or low-tier YouTubers that they were going on a track of getting an education and then they quit and then they tell their audience, I made the right choice, do you think they're kidding themselves?
I genuinely believe that they are making the right decision because it's not a bad message, right? Follow your dreams is not a bad message. Yeah. It's not. But it's
telling them what to sacrifice.
What you're giving up a lot of times is much more serious than I think people are paying attention to. It's like you're giving up your education, a potential job, a potential family, a potential life for your children for something that many times you're not good at. People are not good. People are not talented. They're not pretty. They're not a lot of these things that other people are telling them that they are, right? It's like, okay, I want to be a model, but I'm 4'9" and I have like a serious acne problem. That's not saying that I'm not going to do it, but I probably shouldn't stop going to school to pursue that. Do you see what I'm saying? Because really what I'm doing is like, and another major thing, it's like, you know, just within the I don't know if this is just a generational thing, but people are irresponsible and they're lazy. And so whenever you kind of jump from being put in this situation where you're having to compete for a position to being your own boss, you can record a video whenever you want, you can watch Netflix whenever you want. Sometimes people aren't holding themselves accountable to those things. It's like, hey, look, they're not understanding that, yo, I just quit my job and I just quit college. This isn't necessarily free time now, right? It's like now if you're going to become this Twitch streamer, if you're going to become this YouTuber, then actually start making the steps to do so. Don't just be like, oh, I'm a YouTuber now, so my whole life is perfect. You still have bills at the end of the month. So it's like, I think my advice to creators is like, try to get an unbiased kind of
stance.
Exactly, on whether you feel like you can do it or not. If you are... There are last point. Yeah. There are literally thousands and thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people that are trying to become this YouTuber or this, whatever the case is, singer, whatever. And so with more people kind of dropping out or kind of pursuing that, the competition becomes harder.
That's true, very true.
So it's like, nowadays, first of all, you're not good to begin with, right? A lot of times.
Yeah.
And I'm just being honest. People are not good a lot of times. On top of you not being good, it's like, even if you were good, there are other thousands of people that are that good. You actually have to be extremely good to kind of make it nowadays, I think. And so it's like, I think people should really have like some sort of reality check and just be like, look, I need to do what's smart for me.
But what's crazy is that, like, everything you've said, I feel like there has been a celebrity that has had like a counter argument. And, you know, somebody big that has said like, oh, like, you never know until you try is a big saying.
For sure.
But it's like, but I also feel like as you said, that you shouldn't just jump into it sacrificing everything. You should, you know, take the steps. But it's like crazy how I feel like, because you're, you know, a person of a creative background and you're saying all this, but I remember in the past, a long time ago, I had asked you this question, and your response was that you felt like you needed like you needed your back against the wall to be able to move forward. Not in those exact words, but do you recall? You basically said, like, because I asked you why not pursue an education and do this on the side.
I think I was saying, like,
you needed them, like, for you it was like
rock bottom. Rock bottom is like a great place to build up. Yeah. For me, that was, I feel like that was one of the things it was, but it wasn't necessarily that. Like, you know, I actually had this conversation with my little sister as well. Like, one of the things about me is that I was 100% willing to kind of like give up a social life and give up a lot of things in order to put myself in the right positions to be successful in this. My first instinct was not to go to YouTube about it, right? It's like, I think that I genuinely believe that if I would have like done the YouTube thing, I maybe could have made some money off of it. I think so. I'm confident.
You would have.
I just did not see that as being
for you
sustainable.
Wanted to focus on your actual skills.
Exactly. Hone in on the actual, exactly, and then really find a way to make money from that. And then at the same time, I wasn't staying still with that. I was also trying to build relationships with other people, and then I kind of got introduced to like business and then businesses. And so there was a lot of different things for me, and even for me, I don't think that I would ever recommend that to someone else. It's like, yo, you know, drop out of school or whatever. For me, there was an opportunity there, and so I took it. Yeah. But one of the things that I don't tell people is that a lot of people don't know that I actually sort of didn't have a choice in a lot of ways. I knew what I wanted to do very early on, and that was like play professional football, right? Yeah. It's like, and then it's like you get older and you start to realize, oh, what is this kind of...
Your walls get taken down one by one.
You know what I mean? And so then I had a much more realistic idea of like what I wanted to do, and that was, you know, become a cinematographer or be in the film industry. And then I kind of got hit with reality again whenever I found out the tuition for one of those schools is like $70,000. You know what I'm saying?
Take advantage.
Right. And so kind of my... You know, in our religion, Islam, you cannot take out loans that have interest on it. And that was the only way that I could have gone to that school. And I refused. I was like, you know, if that's what it takes, then it's not for me. I can't take out a loan. So I knew that going to school, I felt like I didn't have a direction. I felt like I was kind of going to school and I didn't know what exactly I was doing with it. And so that's whenever I started looking at alternatives. You know, okay, at least... If I'm not going to go to school here, then maybe I'll try to intern somewhere, or maybe I'll try to meet this person, and that's kind of what happened. But one of the things you were saying earlier that I wanted to bring back up is you were saying like a counter argument for what I was saying. Like celebrities say, you know, you could be that one person, right? You can be this and
be the best you. Quote
exactly,
unquote.
And it's like, and I think that's why it kind of gets people. It's just a scam. It's a major scam because it's true. That is very true. It's like, that's right. You technically could be that person. The problem is that you can't all be that person. And that's what they don't tell, you know, a lot of people. They don't tell you that it's very, very likely not gonna be you. Because that's what the odds entail. It's like, and my counter argument to that is not even that. That's just something on the side. My counter argument is that for those people who've already made it, it's very easy to say, and it's very kind of one-sided. Another thing is that any YouTuber now that's popping or have already made it...
It's different than starting now.
it's way different.
Yeah.
It's a different ballgame. Those people have no idea what it's like now. Even for singers, there's probably 20 times more singers trying to make it talented.
Even better than the people that are already up
100%.
Yeah.
I think so. There are people who have kind of taken those,
techniques
and molded them into something incredible right now, at a younger age, and they're still not making it because there's just too many of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You really have to have something crazy to make it now, and so I feel like that's something that people who have already kind of made it at that level don't understand, and they can never understand because they know no other way than just the way that they've done it. Their competition pool was very small compared to the one that is there now, and so that's kind of something that.
Which I feel like is not, you can't really argue against that. Like,
you can't,
because of all the different, because of social media exposure and all the different like TV shows and auditions and
think about how many singers
it's
you're seeing.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And some of them did make it off YouTube, which is crazy. Like
for sure,
with Shawn Mendes, that's insane to me.
Yeah. Like, and that's why it's like that. I feel like even him, he has something very, very specific. I don't think he's the greatest singer of all time.
Absolutely
I think he's also like a good-looking guy. He's also a Caucasian. He's also has a sweet voice. He also had maybe a little bit of money. I mean, it's a lot of things that kind of go into it. I don't know where he lived, but it may another. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you live in Canada, or you live in LA, or you live in New York, you have a huge kind of advantage over people that live in Wisconsin or Indiana. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like people in Wisconsin and Indiana do not think that. They think, oh, I live in Indiana and I just bought this camera for $2,000, my entire life saving, and I'm about to become a YouTuber. It's like, I'm telling you, man, this is like a major problem, and I think a lot of it can be resolved with kind of parenting. I think parents can step in and be like, look, child, you're not about to like, I'm not gonna knock your dreams.
Doing the opposite.
The complete opposite.
Yeah.
And it happened outside of just this kind of topic. I think one of the major things that I've always disagreed with, and it may be against popular opinion, but it's with the sex change of young children.
Yes.
I'm like completely, I think that is a major abuse of your child. I think that's a terrible thing to let your child make that decision at 6 years old, but you won't let them choose what color ice cream they want, or, you know what I mean? It's like you're gonna let this kid who doesn't know anything decide a major thing that's gonna affect them for the rest of their lives. I think that's abuse, and I think that should be stopped. Like,
that's another monster topic.
That's a monster topic.
So I want to end this with your advice. Your advice to, I guess, new creators out there who want to make it. What's your advice to that? Because my advice is take advantage of up and coming platforms, I guess. Mm-hmm. So Vine, it's old, but I still feel like it's not obviously not relevant anymore, but I feel like because people took advantage of that was able to boost their career somewhere else.
I think my advice would be knowledge, right? Like, another thing that is kind of popular nowadays.
Knowledge.
It's not. It's not knowledge, but it's kind of in the same realm as like starting your own business, right? I think the main goal is being able to make an uncapped amount of money for yourself. I think that's kind of what it is. It's like people like YouTube because apparently you can be very rich off of it.
Yeah.
And so one of the things is like businesses, and so I think they're all engulfed by, or they can be kind of like, you can succeed in these things a lot of times, or decide to get out of them at the right time if you have the right amount of knowledge on that particular situation. So if you know that, for example, the fidget spinner, right?
Yeah.
If you want to become a professional fidget spinner right now because you know that, last year it was popping, if you would do the right research, then you would know that fidget spinners are not as popping as they were a year ago. If you don't have the knowledge for it, then you are going to spend a lot of time and a lot of money trying to do something that is impossible. So I think that you should, in any business or any, venture, whether it be personal or whatever the case is, I think that you should kind of like really, really, really try to gain the right amount of knowledge in order to pursue it, in order to succeed, so that you can decide whether it's something to go for or to not go for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that setting small goals, setting, reasonable goals that, that don't sacrifice, attainable goals that don't sacrifice, the things that are more important to you. Because at the end of the day, I know we were gonna end it there, but this is another big issue I feel like I have to bring up. Is like a lot of people lose sight of what's important.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, to them, the most important thing that has been subconsciously planted in their mind as a seed is their dreams.
Yeah.
And their aspirations. That has now become the most important thing.
That's true.
Over family, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like it's almost kind of a very sad thing.
Yeah.
Whenever like something has been planted there that can now no longer stop. It's now growing.
Yeah.
Because it's been planted by, you know, somebody else, somebody bigger than them. And now you have this person who's like potentially 50 years from now going to regret everything they did.
Everything. Yeah.
And wish they had like you know like taken care of their family or something. But anyways, we're going to end it at that for now.
For sure.
It's been a pleasure.
And,
Peace out. All right.
But yeah, so are we gonna try to do this every week?
Inshallah, we will try.
Inshallah, we'll try to do this every week. Thank you all for listening in, and you'll hear from us next week, inshallah.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.